Hey guys, a couple of days ago I bought something pretty cool, which is a receipt printer which I can control with Python. So it didn't take long for me to play around with it, try to print some messages and even images. And in the end, I connected it to my Stripe account. So now every time I get a new order for TinyLaunch, a receipt automatically prints. And, it's a pretty cool feeling to see these coming out during dinner and you're like, oh my god, I made a sale. So today I wanted to walk you through which model I've got and which things you might have to consider and how I control it with code, and maybe you decide to get one of your own. So let's get into it. So this is it. It's a little bit bigger than I expected, but I think it's pretty cool. It's by the Korean company Seo, and it's the model SLK TS100. You can see if you open it up here, you have the paper, which is this kind of thermal paper you can use to print. You can close it like this. We could also check if you turn it on while pressing this little feed button, you get like a demo page of some, debug information and so on. And this is like the menu you can use to set up some stuff. Okay, that's it. And then it automatically cuts it and you're left with this kind of receipt. And the cool thing is that now with code we can control this ourselves. If you're interested in how you can connect this to your computer, I wrote a newsletter post online and I'm gonna link it in the description, but it's pretty easy. You just download the drivers and you add the printer as a normal printer to your device. And now to control this using Python, I'm using this ESCPOS package in Python, and you need your vendor ID and product ID. And this will be very specific to your device, but you can just ask ChatGPT how to get this data, and it will give you like a terminal command that will output this data, and then you enter it here, and then you can talk to your printer using Python. And then it's very easy. You can just say like printer.text hello world, and then you can cut it very easy. So let me show you what it looks like. If I right click and run this, you can see it printed a small paper. And here you can see hello world. This is what we printed. But that might be a little bit boring. We want to control like the text size and the position. Maybe we also want to print some images. And the interesting thing is, if you look at this one, it's like a TinyLaunch receipt where I put like the email and the amount someone paid and the date and some dividing lines and some more information. So this is actually just an image that I printed. So I'm using Python to create an image and then I just print it on the printer. But before we get there, maybe we should talk about printing an image at all. So here's a little function I wrote, or I wrote with ChatGPT. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff, but these days for this kind of stuff, you don't need to put in the effort to really type all the code yourself. So basically it will print a full width image. So you put an image in here and it will check if it has like the correct size, because for me, I noticed like 574 pixels is like pretty perfect to use the whole width of the receipt. Maybe it could be a little bit bigger, but you can just play around with it and see what it's like for your machine. And if it's the same, you just take that image, and otherwise you resize it while keeping the aspect ratio. And then you turn it into a black and white image like this, because this one is obviously not gonna print color because it's thermal paper. And yeah, then you just call printer.image with your image and it will output the image. And so I'm loading an icon here from TinyLaunch, the logo, and then I print the image and then I put the TinyLaunch logo text under it. And then I just cut the paper, so that should be pretty easy. So let me show you what that looks like. I just right click and run this demo. And you can see it printed the logo pretty perfectly, and it says TinyLaunch logo under it. It's a bit too close to the image for me, but we could just add some empty lines in between. Yeah, this is basically all you need. Now you can print images and text, and inside these images you can print text and you can design whatever you want, and you can fully control it with Python. So now it's up to your imagination what you want to do with this. You can print anything you want. Yeah, and lastly, I just let ChatGPT create a function for me to format a receipt. So this one just takes some data that should be on the receipt and then it creates an image, and then that image can be printed. So it's pretty basic. We just have like a font we want to use and we have a font size And yeah, we define the padding and where should which element be, for example, like the title and subtitle, order confirmation. We get the email and the price and the timestamp, and then everything will be put on the image. We have this thank you message, and yeah, in the end we get like a black and white image we can print. So in this example we have a charge info with an email, johndoe@gmail.com, an amount, so this is like in cents, so it might be like $19.99, and we just take the current date time, and this charge info goes into the format receipt function, so then we get an image and then we can print that image. And yeah, let me show you what that looks like. We can just also run this demo, and out comes a nice receipt with the data we've requested. And now, of course, I've connected this to Stripe. This is pretty straightforward. You can just Google or like ask ChatGPT about the Stripe API and get the newest orders, and then maybe check every 5 minutes if there's anything new, and then just print it, and that's all. But you know, you can do whatever you want. For example, I just say, you know, for in range 10, let me print it 10 times, and then we can say maybe this is the price, and we say the price times 100, so that it's not such a small value, and then we have the date time, and then maybe we want to print it right away and also cut the paper and maybe go down to 5 so we don't waste that much paper. So if we print this now, it will look like this. So you can really see here that the price went from $0 to $5 or $4, so no surprise here. But we could also just say, okay, let's cut the paper only in the end. Maybe we want like a long receipt, so that's no problem either. We can just let it all get out at once and one cut, and then we have like a longer receipt with multiple orders. So you can really do whatever you want, and I really love playing around with this thing. So I hope this was interesting to some of you. I think it's a really cool thing to play around with. It's fun to see code interact with the real world, so to say. So as I said, check out the newsletter I talked about, where I go into a little bit more detail on how to install this and connect it. And yeah, if you do get around to buying your own, let me know. I'd be interested to know. These are not that expensive. I think I paid $70, including the paper rolls. You know, like this, I had to order 12 at once. They also offer like 40. They're in this black paper, I think to protect it from heat or light or whatever, so the paper keeps working. But it's really not that expensive, and yeah, it's pretty fun for me. So as I said, reach out if you do this. I'd love to know what you make with it. And otherwise, I hope it was interesting to you. Keep shipping, and I'll see you next week.